Hi, and welcome to Meet the Candidate with Alex Herzog. I am Alex Herzog, and I'm hosting today's show. Normally the host of Along the River. However, I'm switching gears a little bit and trying to help out and introduce our candidates that are running for City Council for the November 7th, 2023 election here that's coming up. I've invited a number of candidates. I want to be clear that all the candidates for the contested races were contacted on short notice, and unfortunately some had other obligations and could not attend. However, I also want to be clear that Claremont Community Media Center does not endorse any of the candidates. CCMC is a forum to introduce you to the candidates who have filed and are willing to be here to share their views. I'm fortunate enough to have Wayne Hemingway here today. Wayne is running for an at-large position for City Council. So welcome to the show, Wayne.
Thank you.
So Wayne, let's start off. Let's start telling the audience a little bit about yourself. What brought you to Claremont?
All right. So my father was in the Air Force, did 20 years, retired in '76. And that's brought back to the homestead in Unity because my mother is from this area here.
Oh, okay.
So in that time frame, in '76, I attended St. Mary's, graduated in the 8th grade, went to Stevens High School. So all our dealings, even though we weren't living in Claremont, all our dealings were with Claremont.
So you were living in Unity, but you were everything was going on in Claremont.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Yes. So back then in that time frame, I remember how busy the '70s were in Claremont. So in '81, when I graduated, I left for the military. Did my, actually, about 10 years active duty.
What branch?
U.S. Army.
Excellent.
So I had assignments in Alaska, Korea, Germany, Texas, on the active duty side, Kansas, so all over the place. So after I got out at 10 years, I got out and came back home to the homestead, and from there, tried to meld my way back into the civilization and everything. But I was told I had to do a year in the National Guard when I got out. So I said, okay, I'll do the year. Wasn't the job I wanted to do. They wanted me to be a truck driver. I don't want to be a truck driver. But I stayed there for like 28 years. So in that time, I've held many different jobs in there. So it helped meld my.
So are you retired
mindset.
from the National Guard now?
I am retired now. Retired as a Master Sergeant.
Excellent.
So from that, I just the wife and I bought a place in 2005. So this is why I really say 18 years of hardcore living in Claremont. And Claremont has had its processes, its ups and downs. But I just see that currently we are moving in a good direction. So I think this is time that we get some involvement.
So you mentioned good direction. So tell me, what do you like about living in Claremont now?
Claremont in general, I mean, it's a small community, roughly about 13,000. It keeps dropping and going up. And, and I think the main reason why we need to, I'm looking at helping to push to increase the population. And I think with that, you'll see a lot more people get involved. And this is what, the important part about Claremont is that people are involved. And that's what is really, brought to me is the involvement that people have and the caring that people have for Claremont. They want it to succeed. And so that to me is, true to me.
Yeah, what I hear you saying, passion, right? There is a
yeah.
community, and as Claremont, a small, tight-knit community, there's great passion for wanting better, right?
There is.
Yeah, I
There
see
is.
that too. So tell me a little bit about your community involvement. Have you been involved with any organizations in the past since 2005, since you've kind of been living in here?
No, I have not.
No, you haven't.
No.
Limited involvement, but
Limited involvement. I mean, I could be a member of the VA. I could be a member of the, a few other organizations, but I just chose to focus on family.
family and the National Guard, right?
National
So
Guard.
what year did you get out of that?
I got out of that in 2019.
Oh, okay. So a number of years that you've been busy with that.
Right.
So let's talk about your professional background. Army 10 years, National Guard, but you've had to fill the time in with another career. What have you done?
Right. So from when I got out in 91-ish, I worked at La Valleys, and so I did sales there. I worked I worked as a loan officer for retail sales, loans. I did that for 5 years. And then shortly after that, my brother and I opened up a restaurant, and we had 3 sub shops also in town, well, 2 in town and 1 in Brattleboro that we had opened up. Those went down, you know, business is business. So shortly after we opened up the restaurant is when we got called to active duty. So, I mean, I think that was a big part of it, because I wasn't there to help them out as much at all. So, but, you know, failure is a learning process. So we take it. So once I got back from active duty, the wife and I bought the property in 2005. And then from there, I was deployed again in 2009. And the wife and everyone stayed here. She's got family here in Claremont. So the support system was here for her. And that was important for me, and this is why we stayed here. One of the reasons why we stayed here so long is because she has support family. I was traveling 200 miles a day back and forth between Portsmouth, you know, and any other armory in the state of New Hampshire. So she needed someone here that she could depend on. And so from there, you know, it's the education of the military is just awesome.
Well, that's good to hear. So let me be real poignant. So why are you running for city council?
Why am I running for city council? Well, I see the progress and the positive that's starting to come out. Is that the only reason why? No. I really want to be part of that process and help move it forward. We have to be looking for the best opportunities for Claremont, be it bringing more people in, getting better jobs. You know, those are some of the things that we really need to look at. What can we do to make Claremont better?
And you want to be a part of that process?
I do.
That's fantastic. So tell me, what do you see as the current challenges in Claremont?
We have safety is an issue for me. We have the road infrastructure that needs to be improved, and then we also have the affordable housing. Affordable housing, you know, the market has risen so much, and the rents has risen a lot. You know, a 2-bedroom apartment is $2,000. That's huge. You know, a young couple cannot live off of that. I'd be lucky if when I got out of the military, if I could have lived off that. That's no way, you know. So those are some of the issues that we really need to work on, in my opinion.
So those are complex issues, not real simple solutions.
They're not.
Talk to us about your thought process. How do you go about thinking about solving these problems? What do you do?
So with safety, I think we just need to work with the first responders, because it's a multifaceted problem. It's not just police, fire. You're looking at, you know, the Department of Public Works. You're looking at planning and zoning. You know, those. Every department just about within the city of Claremont is dependent upon the safety of Claremont. Their decisions that they make is important, and we need to support our first responders and make sure they have everything they need to do their job. As far as affordable housing, I think we need to look at, you know, trying to build more housing, find out what we need, try to work with some landowners and you know, do some developments, you know, get some cheaper housing in here if we can.
So cheaper, or are you thinking that it needs to be more subsidized?
It's not subsidized housing. So I'm not looking for Section 8, I'm not looking for that. I just want something a little bit lower than the market value. I had worked on this a little bit when I was doing construction as another one of my jobs. So I had worked on this a little bit, and I had gone to a manufacturer, a housing manufacturer, and I said, hey, what's the cheapest you can do a house for? Give me a 2-bedroom home, and I'll try to find some land, and we'll start throwing some houses up. And he gave me a reasonable price. It was definitely cheaper than the average. So I think that can be done again, and with the right people and the right mindset, I think we could do that again.
Yeah, we definitely have some options in this community to do that. So that's fantastic. So there's you got a lot of military experience. You've seen conflict before. Obviously, we see sometimes the city council gets conflicted, complicated issues. How do you deal with controversy and conflict?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because a lot of times your first instinct is to, block all ideas out of your head, and yours is the only right one. So sometimes you just got to sit back, listen to what the person has to say, and then weigh it out. So in the military, we have training on problem solving, mission development, planning development, and those. I mean, there's a whole manual on it. So with that, and the training that we did every year on that will help to, alleviate these conflicts, hopefully, and be able to at least understand, and then be able to put your foot forward, and if your idea you feel is what it should be, to be able to argue that point. And in the long run, whatever happens, as long as it's for the best interest of Claremont, then that's all that matters.
That sounds great. And so when I think about Claremont and the role of a city council, that city government, what do you believe is the role that city council should be playing for Claremont?
So
In our community, I'm sorry.
Sure. In Claremont, as a city councilor or any councilor, your first priority is to be fiscally responsible. I know that's a canned remark from most candidates and everything, but it is true. You have to. People look at Claremont and say, "Oh, your school tax rate is so high. Your property tax rate is so high." Okay, if you really break it down and you look at it, the school budget is high. Your Sullivan County taxes may be a little bit high, but they're in line. And the town operating, I think, is kind of in line. So we need to look at what we can do to maintain our operating budget so the taxes don't go up. With this reevaluation of our homes, and then the possible reduction of the tax rate, I mean, it's going to make Claremont look better in the light. Oh, they don't have the $40 or whatever it was for a tax rate anymore. Now it's 20, 22. It's going to be a better light. Fiscal responsibility across the board. From that, we look at our constituents. We see what they're interested in, what they want, and then we try to work for that. That's where we should be.
Wayne, thank you so much for coming in. I know that you broke up your day a little bit, and I appreciate your viewpoints on this, and we want to wish you the best of luck as that election time comes around.
All right. Thank you for having me, Alex.
And so that's wraps up another episode of Meet the Candidate. I'm Alex Herzog, the host. A couple things, a reminder that Claremont citizens vote on November 7th. If you do not know and you're a registered voter where you're supposed to vote, please check in with the city clerk's office for Claremont City Hall. They can advise you on that information. Thanks again to Claremont Community Television Media Center and Executive Director Josh Nelson for filming and hosting today and bringing in our candidates or assisting with that. We want to remind you that there's a Meet the Candidates on Saturday, November 4th from 9 to 11 a.m. at Claremont Savings Bank Community Center, and that's located on South Street. So if you can get there, it's a good opportunity, and they can ask questions and mingle with you and get more information about you.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for your service from
Thank
veteran
you.
to veteran. Appreciate your service and being activated during those times. So again, this is Alex Herzog, and thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you around town.